Hey, we're going to look at the worst protection cards in Magic the Gathering. Do you want to protect yourself with these cards? Well, let's find out. We're going to start off with Benovsky's Orbs of Warding. It's a 5-mana artifact that gives you hexproof. That's actually not bad. I like that. If a creature would deal damage to you, prevent one of that damage. Now, I do have some critiques for this card. What type of deck would you want hexproof from? A burn deck, one of those fast super burn decks. They've got lightning helix, they got lightning bolt. Problem is, this is 5 mana. You're probably absolutely dead by that point. There's no way you're going to protect yourself. Now, another thing, if a creature would deal damage to you, prevent one of that damage, that's pretty good versus token decks. But then on that side, you don't really need the hex. I don't think you need hexproof protection from the token decks. I don't know, maybe some of the goblin decks to protect yourself from fling. I mean, you'll really get them, I suppose, but outside of that, if you need protection from, if the hexproof is good, the prevent 1 damage thing is probably not. Moving on with Hexanort. We got Martyr's Tome. This is a 4-mana enchantment. Pay 2 life to prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to target creature this turn. Oh my god. What have we done? Science has gone too far. This is reversed compound interest. We're losing life to prevent damage. Now, not even prevent damage to you, to prevent damage to creatures. I will say it probably makes blocks a little bit more awkward. They got to make sure I guess you could pay like 6 life or 6 or 8 life to keep a creature alive. I don't know if that's going to be worth it, though. That's like the power of 2 dismembers to kill 1 creature. I don't know about that. All right, next up, we're going to give... we got Steve Cooper. Silver Bullet against that Kellermorph Commander. I don't know what that is. I'm assuming that was a response to the Orbs of Warding. But we do have Steve Cooper. Does have a card. Talia Semite Master. The 5-mana 2/3. It's a human cleric. Pay X tap. Choose 1. Prevent the next X damage that would be dealt to target creature this turn. Or you can gain X life. You got to spend only white mana this way. Then why doesn't it say? Oh, I guess you have. That'd be awkward. I don't know how you describe like a white mana X. Because if you just put a white mana symbol there, then it just won. And then it don't work. It don't work. Okay, we got Akihito with Thunderstaff. Thunderstaff is a 3-mana artifact as long as Thunderstaff is untapped. Wow, they brought that mechanic back. Is it an old card? It's not even that old. It's from Darksteel. If it's untapped and a creature would deal combat damage to you, prevent 1 of that damage. And then also pay 2 tap attacking creatures you control get +1/+0. It actually is better on offense than on defense. Way better on offense than on defense. Toads with the Circle of Protection artifact. It's not even Circle of Protection colorless, which would actually be a little bit more useful to defend yourself against some lands. And you have to pay 2 mana for this. Like every activated ability is 2. I could have swore the other Circle of Protections were 1. The next time an artifact source of your choice would deal damage to you this turn, prevent 1 of that damage. But I'll tell you what, a Walking Ballista with infinite counters on it, I would need infinite mana to defend versus it. Next up, we've got Paces Fan Forever with Obelisk of Undoing count. A lot of obelisks out there. Obelisk. Okay, here's the Obelisk of Undoing. 1 mana, pay 6, tap, return target permanent you own and control to your hand. That is terrible. Yes, it would count. Okay, let me get this straight. Now, I might be able to find this off of Urza Saga. Okay, so that's the good side. Now, the downside, it costs 6 more mana. Oh, I don't have to sack it, though. Return target permanent you own and control to your hand. I could bounce itself if I really wanted to. So 6 mana to keep perpetually bouncing my stuff. The problem is when I replay it, the shields will be down. All right, they can go kill it again. Also, onboard trick. I mean, they know that I got the 6 mana up to bounce my own thing. So best case scenario, I tempo myself out super bad. worst case scenario, I'm gonna be tempoed out to my loss. We got Force Field from David Hauer. I thought this card was okay. I don't remember what it does, though. It's a 3-mana artifact. Pay 1. The next time an unblocked creature would deal combat damage to you this turn, prevent all but one of that damage. You know what? I think it's okay. I think it's a little too good for the show, to be honest. It's like, it's a crappy Mazaveth, sort of. It's a crappy Mazaveth. It's not good versus 1-power creatures, okay? It's not, but it's pretty good versus Emrakul. A variety of Emrakuls. Nightmare Incarnation. The Sire of 7 Deaths. 7 mana, 7/7. First strike, Vigilance, Menace, Trample, Reach, Lifelink, Ward, pay 7. This is a great protect. This does okay. First off, it doesn't give protection. Also, the card's busted. This is the worst protection cards. This card's a fantastic card, a great card. Kano, Caregiver. We have a white 1/1 human cleric. Pay a white, sack a creature. Prevent the next 1 damage that we dealt to target creature or player this turn. All right, it works, but at what cost? It costs us mana. It costs us bodies on the battlefield. And after all that, we prevent 1 damage. This is worse than any circle protection card. This should be worth less than 1 cent. It's worth 4 cents because that's how much it costs to keep it on the shelves. Cost to keep it on the shelves. All right, the Fox Clouds. Bandage. Oh, I'm curious what this is. The Bandage. It's a white instant. Prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to target creature or player this turn. Draw a card. You know what? This card sucks, but I sort of like it. I like you get a card draw out of this. I'm sure there's a lot of situations where you can blow someone out. They think like, okay, I'll block your 3 toughness creature with my 3 power creature, and then you just win the exchange. It's almost like a crappy Veil of Summer for combat. Anyway, it is bad, but I can see the upside. You can really get... This is a get 'em card, all right? It's like you attack, they block. Well, I'm sorry, you didn't see the bandage coming. Should have overblocked. Should have thought of blocking with maybe 2 creatures. But no, you had to be greedy. Cool card. Okay, Rylar with the Ice Flow. You may choose not to untap Ice Flow during your untap step. Tap target creature without flying that's attacking you. It doesn't untap during its controller's untap step as long as Ice Flow remains tapped. It's basically Mazaveth at home. If you can't afford Mazaveth, we have Mazaveth at home. Honestly, it's not that bad. Mazaveth at home is pretty good, but I like Diet Mazaveth. Godzilla size fireballs is like, I don't know if this sucks or not. The Soul Echo. I can see the soul of the echo of the soul here. White X. It does a lot. X. When you play Soul Echo, put X echo counters on it. It's templated like a custom Magic the Gathering card. At the beginning of your upkeep, if there are no echo counters on Soul Echo, bury it. Otherwise, target opponent may choose that. For each 1 damage dealt to you until your next upkeep, you instead remove 1 echo counter from Soul Echo. You do not lose the game as a result of having less than 1 life. It has echo counters on the beginning of your upkeep. I really have no idea what the hell this card does. It's like a ticking. It's like a worship card, sort of. Beginning of your upkeep, if there are no echo counters, you have to bury it and then you die. So as long as they have any echo counters on it, you don't die. Weird card. I'm assuming it's a bad worship. Spectral Maniac. Have we seen the Racolite? The 6 mana artifact, pay 2, prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to target creature or player this turn. Return oh my god, return Racolite to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. Okay, so we paid like what, 8 mana to prevent 1 damage? Now, okay, if we have more, I guess in theory, if we have 6 mana to cast this, we also have 6 mana to prevent. So we spent 12 mana to prevent 3 damage over there. 3 damage. Hope it was worth it. Benovsky with our first super chat of the day. Crew, what about the 9 lives? Well, that's probably pretty good. Wiped and you lose. Aren't there combos surrounding this? 3 mana, hexproof. If a source would deal damage to prevent that damage and put an incarnation counter on 9 lives. When there are 9 or more incarnation counters on 9 lives, exile it. When 9 lives leaves the battlefield, you lose the game. Okay, you know what? I could get behind this. You could take it 2 ways, basically. Hold on. If a source would deal damage to you when there are 9... Hold on. If a source would deal damage to prevent that damage and put an incarnation counter, there are 9... I think I'm confusing with this another card. This is pretty bad. Has anyone ever used it? I swear there was a combo with this. 9 lives has a combo with Solemnity that prevents... Okay, so like in combo world, this card can work, but outside of combo world, I mean... You're just going to be one of those cats in the background, as far as I know. It's going to be one of them, part of the Lion Kingdom. Got the whole Lion Kingdom in the background. Elgot, the Stone Cold Basilisk. This is an uncard. It doesn't exist. Gillum with heroism. Ooh, it's from Fallen Empires. The 3 mana enchantment. Pay 0. Sacrifice a white creature to have attacking red creatures. Oh, it fogs them. Deals no damage during combat this turn. The attacking player may pay 3 mana for an attacking creature to have it deal damage as normal. So I'm sacking a creature, and you can still pay your way through it. You can still bribe your creature into damage. I took the ultimate sacrifice here. Okay, next up. Just a random age. Angel of Suffering. We have a 5 mana, 5/3 Nightmare Angel with flying. If damage would be dealt to, prevent that much damage and mill twice that many cards. Well, I mean, if you're playing tiny leaders, this is probably bad. Otherwise... So hold on, let's... I'm breaking out Nikachu's calculator. Does it change anything? So if you mill twice that many cards, you have 40 life in the game, right? In Commander. Times 2, that's an 80 card deck. But you start the game with 92 cards, I believe. Maybe like 91. So you actually benefit from this one. I don't think it's that bad. It's not the worst. Hedgeman with Dire Graft Escort. So green 1/1 human cleric with Soulbound. As long as Diregraft Escort is paired with another creature, both creatures have protection from zombies. Well, you know, you gotta be ready for that zombie apocalypse. It could happen at any time. You see it in the movies. The movies are trying to tell us something. Where is this? Avacyn Restored? I think you have to restore your army to get protection from something else. Elgot with another super chat. We got now do the Basilisk. Which Basilisk? Basilisk. There's a lot of Basilisk cards. I don't know which one you're talking about. You have to be more specific, Elgot. Sorry about that. We need... Oh, was it the... Oh, the Stone Cold Bath. Okay. So pay to win. If you pay me, we'll look at the uncards. 5 mana for a 2.5/5 creature. Whenever Stone Cold Basilisk blocks or becomes blocked by a creature with fewer letters in its name, destroy that creature at end of combat. But whenever an opponent reads Stone Cold Basilisk, that player is turned to stone until end of turn. Stone players, they can't attack, block, or play spells or abilities. So I look at this thing, I can't do anything. Oh, look at it. It's so very, very flavorful. The owner of the card. Is this a 5-player game or something? Or is that a judge over here? Also has the weirdest art. I don't even feel like this is Magic the Gathering art. The one I asked earlier. Okay, I got it. I didn't put 2 and 2 together. That was the same Basilisk at first. Next up, we got Chen. Forethought Amulet. 5 mana artifact. Pay 3 during your upkeep, or Forethought Amulet is destroyed. If you receive more than 2 damage from a sorcery instant, that damage is reduced to 2. Lightning Bolt. Okay, instead of doing 3, I only do 2. This is terrible. That's only from instants and sorceries. I thought it was going to be like, reduce that damage to nothing. Or at least reduce it down to 1. You have to pay 5 mana. Then you have to pay an additional 3 mana after this. You'd be so dead. You're already dead. You're already dead versus the burn decks. You know, I guess you have to look at this in historical context. You gotta think of the mana ramp. They had Black Lotus. They had the Mox Ruby, Mox Sapphire, Mox Jet. They expected you to ramp into this card. Yeah, I have to look at it in historic relevance. That's why I guess a lot of cards were expensive back then. And hence look wildly unbalanced by today's standards. We got another super chat from Godzilla. Size Fireballs. Personal Incarnation is on my do not play list. I didn't know you had a do not play list. 6 mana for a 6/6. Oh, this is an old card. 0 mana. The next 1 damage that'd be dealt to Personal Incarnation this turn is dealt to its owner instead. Any player may activate this ability, but only if they own Personal Incarnation. I have to tell you, this is a bomb in Alpha and Beta Limited. I got beaten down by this card. When Personal Incarnation is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, its owner loses half their life rounded up. Ooh! That sounds like it's gonna hoit. Make sure it stays on the battlefield. Okay, what we got? We got Little Dead Fly with Scarecrow. What's a show without getting actual Scarecrow on here? Where's actual Scarecrow? There we go. No relation to the Batman series, I'm assuming. 5 mana for a 2/2 Scarecrow. 6 mana. Tap. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to you this turn by creatures with flying. Why? Oh, yeah, because they, like, shoo away the flying creatures. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. It's on the ground. It shouldn't have reach. But I guess it scares them away. As in the name. Came from the dark. The Scarecrow. Yeah, it scares the birds away. The lore is right. Very flavorful. David Groves. Kitsune Rift Walker. How many Kitsunes are there out there? Can always count on the Kami block for something super parasitical. This is a 3 mana 2/1 protection from spirits and arcane spells. Does not give protection. Disqualified on this show. Otherwise, there's actually a lot of cards that have protection from a lot of stuff out there. Has to give protection. Eternal Kazuma with Scares... it's getting back to the Scarecrow. Yeah, it scares birds away. Apparently scares the dragons. They're very, very scared. Okay, next up, let's take a look at Christopher B's Ghosts of the Innocent. It must give! Okay, 7 mana for a 4/5 spirit. If a source would deal damage to a creature or player, it deals half that damage, rounded down to that creature or player instead. It's not terrible. What does make this terrible, though, is it's 7 mana. So, I mean, you're going to have to take a loan out on your... You're going to have to get an extra mortgage. Maybe take out an extra credit card or 2. Because you're going to need it in order to pay for this card. If you could make it cost less, it would be awesome. What, the Scarecrow card? You have to make it a lot less. I mean, this is 5 mana to cast this crappy Grizzly Bear. And you got to pay 6 and tap it to get the ability. You know, back then, there were a lot of dragons. A lot of flying creatures were broken. Sarah Angel, people. Sarah Angel. Who has no card yet? Toilet Duck? Samite Alchemist? 4 mana for a 0/2. Double white. Tap. Prevent up to 4 damage to a creature you control. Okay. Tap that creature. That creature does not untap during your next untap phase. We basically stunned our creature. I protect my creature, but at what cost? It's going into hibernation. It's going into stasis as far as I'm concerned. Okay, we got Christopher B with Kitsune Bone Setter. We have a 3-mana 0/1 Fox Cleric. Tap, prevent the next 3 damage that would be dealt to target creature this turn. It's Healing Salve. Play this ability only if you have more cards in your hand than each opponent. Combined? Or I guess just individually. Okay. I have a 3-mana Healing Salve. Very pathetic. Healing Salve for creatures at that. Bulky with the Tidal Flats. It's a blue enchantment. Now for double blue, all your creatures that are blocking any non-flying creatures gain first strike until end of turn. Now the attacking player may pay 1 for each attacking creature to prevent Tidal Flats from giving that creature's blockers first strike. So we're like, what's the point of even having... You know what? I feel like this card deserves cumulative upkeep. Because there was like a lot of bad cards like this that got even worse through cumulative upkeep. Maybe it wasn't invented yet. It's just there to scare people. I guess it's there to tax the opponent. Like they can't tap out because if they do, then all of a sudden I can block their creatures. But another thing, I'm blue. Blue barely had creatures back then. Like why am I blocking squat? What am I even blocking with at the time of the Fallen Empires? What my Tim? Was it the Prodigal Sorcerer? I don't think so. Use this with the Stasis Coffin. Three mana for a legendary artifact. Pay 2, tap, exile the Stasis Coffin. You gain protection from everything until your next turn. That card's great. It's way too good for this episode. Way too good. Okay, Algot. It is funny. Zamone's Homework. Oh, we've got yet another unset card. Thank you for let me know I'm supposed to look up is funny. Okay, it's a blue-green enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, if your life total is on the Laser Caterer's sequence, create a food token. If it's a Fibonacci number, create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token, then put a +1/+1 counter on each fractal you control. If it's a square number, put 3 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control whose power and toughness are equal. You'll want to look these up. You better believe it. Feels exactly like a what's it called? Feels very custom. No, not even AI card alert. It's very custom Magic the Gathering card alert. Easy Mercify with Earnest Fellowship. This is a 2-mana enchantment. Each creature has protection from its colors. Situationally, it might be good. What? Each creature has protect. No, you know what? Like, then you can't even protect your own creatures. If like you can't use pump spells, you can't use protection cards on your own creatures because it probably has protection from the color of those cards, unless all your creatures are green. How would you use this properly? Anyway, it's very awkward. It's super hit or miss too. So I guess it's, you know what? It's good in the mirror match. You bring it in for the mirror. It's exactly what it's for. Bell with Allie from... Oh, good old Allie. We all remember Allie over here. The 4-mana 0/1. Damage that would be reduced. Your life total less than 1 reduces to 1 instead. I like this card. I actually think this is too good. If no one has removal, you're invincible. Basically. No, I'm not going to say people don't have removal, but it's a very, very strong card. Very vulnerable, but very strong. It's red worship. Who do we have here? Let's get one from Dennis with Philax Terry Leech. Black for a 5/5 zombie. This thing is insane. It's got indestructible. Enter the battlefield, put a phylactery counter on an artifact you control. When you control no permanents with phylactery counters on them, sacrifice phylactery leech. Does not give protection. Have we lost our way? Wrong leech card? Oh, we gotta give me the right one. Okay, Paul Rogg with Bubble Matrix. 4 mana artifact. All damage to creatures is reduced to 0. I mean, the effect is good, but the price is not so good. Would not play card, personally. Richard Mitchell, every creature and player takes 1 damage, and they can't because they have protection. I guess, wow, that one is insane. Correct. I don't know if Nightmare Incarnation got disqualified either. Council Guardian. 6 mana for a 5/5 giant soldier. The will of the council. When Council Guardian enters the battlefield, starting with you, each player votes for blue, black, red, or green. But not white isn't on the ballot. Council Guardian gains protection from each color with the most votes or tied for the most votes. Don't split the vote. It only gets stronger. But they're just going to vote for what's like most irrelevant. Okay, Dr. Nemo with Razia Boros Archangel. Whoa, this is 8 mana for a 6/3. Flying Vigilance and Haste, tap the next 3 damage that be dealt to target creature you control this turn is dealt to another target creature instead. it's unique. So if you have something that's big enough to suck up the damage, and it can be deflected onto itself. I mean, you can deflect 1 or 2 damage. The next 3 damage, you can't select 2 damage. Or can you now? I'm just trying to think. The next 3 damage that would be dealt to target creature you control. Oh, no, you can't. I'm just trying to think how to break this card. Very unique ability. Prevent the damage and swap it around to creatures. Put on your indestructible creature, perhaps. What about for Genka? Well, for Genka's not letting me know. The Jeweled Spirit. Jeweled Spirit. We have a 5 mana 3/3 Spirit. Flying. Sacrifice 2 lands. Jeweled Spirit gains protection from artifacts or from the color of your choice until end of turn. I had to sacrifice how many? 2 lands? I just had to sacrifice all my real estate. Get protection from artifacts. Or the color of my choice. Basically anything. The protection is good. I want to say, is there some combo potential here? There are those cards where if a permanent left the battlefield this turn, you can bounce them back on the same turn instead. I'm just thinking. We did Circle of Protection artifacts already, Michaeling. Terrible card. Absolutely terrible. Okay, Toilet Duck. I'm going to take another shot at this. Sarah Paladin. 4 mana 2/2. Tap. Prevent 1 damage to any creature or player. Also for 3 mana. Tap. Attacking this turn does not cause target creature to tap. But I had to tap this creature to do that. What a weird way to give vigilance. Awful card. All right, we're gonna look at more terrible protection cards, super terrible protection cards. But we have to thank our sponsors today, FusionGamingOnline.com. Do you want to play with a handicap? Do you want to get some bad protection cards? You know where to find them. You get them at FusionGamingOnline.com. Where's the deal of the week is a banger. It's not this. Where's the Boxing Day? It's like big boxing. There we go. Boxing Week sale. You know what Boxing Week is? It's basically the Canadian Black Friday. Save up to 30% on all categories from December 25th to the 29th. Highly recommend you check out the singles and sealed product that they have available, especially the worst protection cards in Magic the Gathering. Now, it's a big deal, so you can't use my coupon code with it, but if you're watching this show and you missed out on the big sale, you can use coupon code Nikachu anyway at checkout to get 5% off all your purchases. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. Your ability to play any deck, any format you want on Magic Online, the premier place to play digital Magic and the paper Magic in a digital form. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below. Save 40%. Get 40% cash back on your 3rd month subscription using coupon code Nikachu_4KA. And now back to terrible Magic the Gathering cards. Back to your regularly scheduled programming. Progenitus doesn't count. Does not give protection. Don't be getting people excited, Jacob. Because then all of a sudden people get the idea, oh, that counts. No, it doesn't. It doesn't count. Lesthian, the Urza's armor. You would think Urza knows how to make armor. Made Karn, after all. 6 mana artifact. If a source would deal damage to you, prevent 1 of that damage. Unbelievable. What is with all this one day? Was like tokens OP at the time? I don't think so. I think like things like there was mono red goblins, like there was red goblin aggro, black. There was black aggro. There was white aggro. So maybe you turn all the 2-power creatures into 1-power creatures effectively. But this is 6. All these cards are like 5, 6, 7 mana. They're useless at that point. You're dead. You're just dead. In my opinion, where this came from? Urza Saga? Maybe you got this out and play with the Tolarian Academy at the time. At the time. 6 mana for 1 damage is brutal. It's not for 1 damage. It's whenever a source. So if you have 10 creatures that attack for 2, then they all get 1 damage prevented. So they're only attacking for 1 each. So they're only attacking for 10. Okay, next up. Evan, I guess you got some cards disqualified. Troubled Healer. Troubled Healer is a 3-mana 1/2 cleric. Sack a land, prevent the next 2 damage that be dealt to target creature or player this turn. Wow, this is the crap. Whoa, what was this? A cycle? Sacking our lands to get like incredibly mediocre, crappy effects? Unbelievable. Title is confusing. You know what? You're not wrong, Jacob, but it wouldn't be a very interesting show if it was cards that actually had protection. It says worst protect. Whatever. You're not wrong, but I run the rules around here. Blacklands Geo got that "You Are Dead" soundtrack from Total Distortion. Might be a great ad someday. You are. I could look it up. Trent Sims, Healing Salve. The OG was in the same cycle as Lightning Bolt. Not just Lightning Bolt. Ancestral Recall. Dark Ritual. What else? Giant Growth. Giant Growth basically saw only good play in draft. Yeah, this one, you either gain 3 life or prevent 3 damage. Now, in Limited, this is actually pretty good. All right? I played this, like, I got blown out in combat multiple times from Healing Salve. You can just freely attack into your opponent or freely block your opponent. I thought it was pretty OP, to be honest. Spend a bunch of mana to nuke your mana. Exactly. I'm sure that was in reference to the Troubled Healer. Still very troubled. Palrog, Nomad Encore. Okay, let's try to evaluate this. A white 1/1. This is a combo card. An incredibly dangerous combo deck. 0. The next 1 damage that will be dealt to Nomad's Encore this turn is dealt to target creature you control instead. I think it can diversify like a lot of mana. I think it can diversify. I think it diversifies a lot of damage. I think this card's still a smidge too good for this show. We did semi healer. P. The letter P. Order of Ebon Hand. Black for a 2/1 Cleric Knights. Got protection from white. Black Order of the Ebon Hand gets +1/+0 until end of turn, and for a black, Order of Ebon Hand gains first strike until end of turn. Disqualified. Does not give protection. Already has protection. Adam with Masked Gorgon. Jacob's now like, see, it's so confusing. Title should say prevent damage cards. Worst, prevent, but it can give protect. It doesn't have to just prevent damage. You can give something protection from something. It's a, you know, I would even take something like Autumn's Veil for this show. Okay, 5 mana for a 5/5 Gorgon. Green creatures and white creatures have protection from Gorgons. What? Green creatures and white creatures have protection from Gorgons. And it's all creatures. So you can help your opponent get protection from Mass Gorgon. Threshold. Mass Gorgon has protection from green and white. Oh! Plot twist. I have protection from you too. 2 ships passing in the night. David Groves. Pale Wayfire is my attempt to redeem myself. Now I am less confused by the rules. Pale Wayfarer. 7 mana for a 4/4. How many hands are here? This is AI generated art. Spirit Giant. 4 mana. Untap it. Target creature gains protection from the color of your choice. Hold on. Target creature gains protection from the color of its controller's choice until end of turn. Why? I don't get that. Target creature gains protection from the color. Okay, so. Oh, I see. Okay, you know, I am the controller of my own creatures. It's just worded weird, so I can actually choose someone else's card, and they can gain protection from whatever they want. Oh yeah, so much mana. No, that I mean, you got to attack first. You got to get in the red zone, and then after that, then you untap it with the 4 mana. Okay, we got. Let's look at a Christopher B special. Poultice Cautery Sliver. What is this? Cautery. There are 2 different slivers. Okay, Poultice Sliver. 3 mana for a 2/2. All slivers have. Pay 2. Tap. Regenerate. Target sliver. You just give them regeneration. Nothing wrong with regeneration. Kana with no 2 cards yet. The Glyph of Destruction. Anyone who has no card yet? The red instant. Target wall you control gains +10/+0 when blocking. Any damage to target wall is reduced to 0. Target wall is destroyed at end of turn. I thought I was protecting you. In the end, I wasn't doing anything. I was actually blowing you up. One last wall block, wall. One last wall block. Bingo space. Oh, I forgot about the bingo card. Toilet Duck probably very disappointed. I could have had a bingo card for today. Probably is a pretty good bingo card day anyway. Danielle has no card yet. 8.5 tails. No, we haven't done 8.5 tails. I thought that card was okay. Or maybe it's just a janky card. White for a 2/2 Fox Cleric. For 2 mana, target permanent you control gains protection from white until end of turn. And for 1 mana, target spell or permanent becomes white until end of turn. If you have a lot of mana, you can gain protection from everything around here. Damien's like, should I let damage get through it at that point? Yeah, for like the wall, absolutely. I mean, unless you really have to block that thing if it's big enough. +10/+0, that's they won't see that coming. They didn't think your 0/7 wall was going to be so powerful. Neogenesis with the Elixir of Immortality. Was a standard all-star at the time. Does anyone play with the Elixir of Immortality these days? It's a 1 mana artifact. Pay 2, tap. You gain 5 life, and you shuffle it back into the deck. And the graveyard into your library. So it's like a means. I mean, I don't like this card, but it's a means to make sure that you never like deck yourself. I think these days we have a lot more ways to not deck yourself these days. Just says Nikachu wins so many tournaments. Oh, so flattering. Because he's an actual wizard that collects luck and skill in a jar. When he faces off against people and steals it from them. I'm the luck stealer. I don't make my own luck. I just take someone else's. Okay, a black bird with unquestionable authority. Unquestioned authority? Unquestioned authority. This is a 3 mana aura, enchant creature. Enters the battlefield, you get to draw a card. Enchant creature has protection from creatures. Okay, I mean, I don't like auras, but I think for an aura, this is pretty good. It replaces itself, And like one of the best thing is to have protection from creatures. Basically says your creature is unblockable and you can block anything. You can block all and cannot be blocked at all. The Hidden Oscillate says for Elixir, if you copy it a ton, it's actually hard to kill that person at all. How do you kill it a ton though? Sorry, how do you copy it a ton? That sounds like a weird achievement unlocked. How do you copy your Elixir of Immortality? I shall copy this 1 billion times. At that point, just get an infinite life combo on the battlefield. Okay, Jacob. Taunos's coffin. Taunos. What? Oh, okay. I got confused. I thought Taunos was like from Ravnica. No, Taunos is old. I was like, why is this old card coming up? Okay, 4 mana, artifact. You may choose not to untap your Taunos' coffin during your untap step. Pay 3, tap. Remove target creature and auras attached to it from the game. Good luck doing that to a hexproof creature. Note the number and kind of counters that were on that creature. When Taunos' coffin leaves player, becomes untapped. Return the removed card to play under its owner's control, tapped with the noted number and kind of counters on it. And if you do, return the removed aura cards to play under their owner's control attached to that permanent. Is this on Magic Online? I guess this is... Okay, I think I know what this is for. This is for the hexproof player. The Bogles deck. They've got these, they souped up their hexproof creatures with a bunch of auras. And I guess in the face of a board wipe or some sort of existential threat, they can, like, blink their creature with Taunos' coffin. When does it come back? Does it come back immediately? Turn the remove card back to play. It just only blinks. Won't be good versus board wipes, I guess. Taunos lived during the Brothers' War. Oh. I'm not familiar with the lore, to be honest. Michael Ing, Force Field. We look at that one. Yeah, we looked at that one. I even disqualified it. I thought it was too good, to be honest. It's 3 mana, it's 1 mana, prevent everything but 1 damage. Hidden Oscillate, Aegis of the Gods. 2 mana, 2/1. You have hexproof. What's wrong with that? That's great. 2 mana for a 2/1 enchantment creature? Gives you hexproof immediately? Now, if it was 5 mana, I can understand that. I think this is a pretty unique card. I think it's too good for this show. Dr. Nemo, Amber Prison. 4 mana. Oh, it's really Amber. Welcome to Jurassic Park. You may choose not to untap Amber Prison during your untap step. We can't look. You know, the scientists were too preoccupied with whether or not they could. They didn't stop to think if they should. Then also for 4 mana, tap target artifact, creature, or land. As long as Amber Prison is tapped, that permanent doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Tap target. This is very preventative. Super preventative. Super expensive, too. For this much mana, you might as well have just played Navinral's Disc. And then just wipe the board clean. Nice and clean. Easy Mercify with the Soul Devi Soldier. Oh, sorry, it's not Soul Devi Heretic. A Heretic. 3 mana for a 2/2 for a white. Tap. Prevent up to 2 damage to any creature. Target opponent may draw a card. Oh my goodness. And they may draw a card. I'm just a little speechless. This is a crappy blue protection card that donates cards to our opponent. I think Amber is good, except the cost too expensive. Oh well, that's what makes it bad. Just says, I just saw a video that had something like that found underground in it, but it was an alien, probably fake. Oh yeah, they're all fake. Alien in amber from millions of years ago. Everyone knows aliens are extinct. Okay, next up. Kenkusha with Kitsune Bones. It seems like all these Kitsune cards are rubbish trash. Oh, we saw that one, though. Sorry about that. Yeah, I can't even force a draw either. It should say it should draw you a card. Yes, that's right. It should draw me a card. In blue. Maybe that'd be broken. A 3-mana card draw machine. Just add some more mana to it. It'd be fine. Okay, Chen, Hot Springs. It's getting hot around here. 2 mana for when Hot Springs comes into play. Choose target land you control. Pay 0. Tap land Hot Springs enchants to prevent 1 damage to any creature player. What? When Hot Springs comes into play, choose target land you control. Pay 0. Tap land. Okay, I can't read the ancient scripture. It doesn't make sense to me. Enchanted land has tap. Prevent the next 1 damage that be dealt to any target this turn. This card is just confusing as F. The ancient scripture makes no sense. Tap land. It makes me feel like for 0 mana, I'm tapping somebody else's land. I'm getting the power. Anyway, Damichi. Thank you very much. The big dog is the one I made for a meme. Huh? The big dog is one I made for a meme? What are you talking about? Well, thank you so much for the donation, Dimitri. I don't know what you mean by this, though. Are you trying to give me like a custom Magic the Gathering card? It's not that type of show today. Okay, we're gonna maybe it's a custom card. It's a wrong day, Dimitri. Okay, you gotta show up on Wednesdays. On the Wednesdays. Well, I don't have my Discord open. It's not that show. Okay, Dimitri, remind me on a Wednesday, or maybe tag me in the Discord and I'll start like a custom card show with your card. Okay, moving on. Michael Ng with Oasis. Oh, that one. I like that one, sort of. Just I like lands that do very unique things. Land, tap, prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to target creature this turn. Now, is it bad? Okay, sure. Because it doesn't add mana. But imagine this, my coffee crew. What if this added mana? I bet it would be broken. I bet it would be like one of... I want to say it's one of the best lands of all time. But a pretty damn good land. I think it would be like a pretty tier 1 land. You go turn 1. I don't know when you play this, but like I think it'd be pretty good. Okay, who has no 2 cards yet? Does a mechanic count for this episode? Absolutely. As long as the card protects you or something, it is all good with me. It can be a mechanic. Do we look at perch protection? Oh, I didn't. Okay. 6 mana for an instant. You gift an extra turn. Create 4 2/2 blue bird creature tokens with flying. If the gift was promised, all perms you control phase out. This card seems good. Yeah, you have Teferi's protection. And you get a bunch of 2/2s. I like it. I think it's too good for this show. Okay, who doesn't have 2 cards? Does Glacial Chasm count? Way too strong. Way too strong. It's actually a super popular card in lands like decks. It's better than I guess it looks like rubbish, but it's super powerful. But they get a whole extra turn. What are they gonna do with it? They do nothing with it. Trent with Time Machine. So yes, let's go back in time. Oh no, wait a minute. This is an uncard. So you uncard people. Daniel, Willow Priestess. Yeah, we're at the no 2 cards yet point of this show. Yes, the 4 mana 2/2 Fairy Druid. Tap, you may put a fairy permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield, but you can also pay 3 mana. And target green creature gains protection from black until end of turn. That's right, that's it. Here's the worst part about this card. I mean, against black, like this thing's just going to get smoked right out of the gates. 4 mana Willow Priestess, and so like, okay, Doomblade it! Doomblade, Terror. So many different types of cards back then. It was a simpler time back then. Back then, Black had to spend 2 mana to destroy a creature. Back in my day, removal was 2 mana, and we liked it like that. Now everything dies to 1 to 0 mana. Everything costs 1 to 0 mana. Everything dies to 1 to 0 mana. It's kind of okay in a fairy deck. It's even better if you can change this wording from black to anything else. That's some 80s rockin' hair. Well, someone's living in the 80s. It was, I guess this was printed in 2000. No, the original was Homelands. 1995. 80s wasn't too far away. Toads with Island Sanctuary. The 2-mana enchantment. If you would draw a card during your draw step, instead, you may skip that draw. If you do, until your next turn, you can't be attacked except by creatures with flying and or island walk. It's like some sort of weird moat. Lets you cheat out Morophon for the fairy card, the Willow Priestess. You Morophon player is very creative. But the problem is Morophon is in your command zone. So you can't actually cheat it. Jess is spitting like just a bunch of really weird. It's like it's fake news, but it props me up. I can throw a magic card through a watermelon. I wish. Okay, Jeffrey. Nikachu, how's your day? Did we do solitary confinement? We did not. This one is an interesting one. Solitary confinement. It's not objectively. This card's not good. And people just have not been able to make it work very, very well. 3-mana enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, sack solitary confinement unless you discard a card. Skip your draw step. You have Shroud. Prevent all damage to be dealt to you. There is like a world, if you can keep drawing cards over and over and over again, you will live. But practically speaking, it just does not work very well. A lot of decks that try to play the solitary confinement just sort of flop around and then die anyway. Trip Fontaine says, I played a deck with Island Sanctuary and Howling Mine and Millstone. Great with Squee. There's a lot of answers to Squee these days, unfortunately. Inner Sanctum. From Lesthian. 3 mana. Cumulative upkeep of paying 2 life. All damage dealt to creatures you control is reduced to 0. It's an interesting card. It's also part of the reserve list. It's a very interesting card. You know what? It's also a Death Shadow enabler. Get your life total from 40 down to 10. Instant Death Shadow. Neogenesis with mind-bending spores. Mind Bender spores. 3 mana for a 0/1 flyer. Whenever it blocks any creature, put 4 fungus counters on that creature. During its controller's untap phase, remove a fungus counter from the creature. As long as the creature has any fungus counters on it, it does not untap during its controller's untap phase. Blocks, put 4 fungus counters on that creature. So did we just put stun counters on it? Does not untap. Interesting. It's cute. It's an interesting card. What is this? Is some very weird looking squid. It's like a fruit blended with a squid or something. You don't have one card? Have we done a Chroma's Blessing? Horim's Chant is insane. That's like, how could you suggest? How you dare slander Orim's Chant? A Chroma's Blessing, the 3-mana instant. Choose a color. Creatures you control gain protection from the chosen color until end of turn. Also has cycling. Creatures you control get protection. At least you can cycle the damn thing. Christopher B trying to get at least one. Okay, let's look at pyramids. We got a bunch of cards. Christopher B's sort of advertising to everyone. You can take one of these. 6 mana for a poly artifact. Best part of this card is the art. Pay 2. Look at those people. Is that people back there? They're so big compared to the pyramids. These pyramids are small compared to these people. Like, these people are off in the distance. This did not scale very well. Anyway, 2 mana. Prevents a land from being destroyed or removes an enchantment from any land. Okay, forget the ancient scripture. What does this do? Destroy target aura attached to a land. The next time target land would be destroyed this turn, remove all damage marked on it instead. But what if I'm stone raining it anyway? The next time target land would be destroyed this turn, remove all damage on it instead. Well, I guess I'm removing all damage instead. So I guess it doesn't get destroyed because I'm doing something else. The programmed. Oh, is it trees? I'm getting to the bottom of this. I think it looks like some clay people far off in the distance. Well, I'll be damned. It's probably trees. Look, I saw this as a body. Here's the head. Here's the arms. Uh-oh. But I can't explain. This is like a headless person over here, so I can't explain it. They both have like sort of a bodily figure. Okay, but you know what? I agree. It's probably trees. The Program Knight. Rune of Protection. Lands. Of all the runes. Forgot about the Rune of Protection cards. 2 mana. Enchantment. For a white, prevent all damage to you from a land source. Because we all know those lands were going to get really dangerously into the red zone. Wow, very interesting oracle wording. Oh, yes, I know. Here's the good news from Rune of Protection lands. You can cycle it. All right. That's value. Okay, what do we have next here? They're trees. Oh, the Amy Weber stands come out to defend. Defend Amy. That's fair. Nightmare Incarnation. Hellbent Raider. Hellbent Raider, 3 mana, 2/2, Barbarian with first strike and haste. Discard a card at random from your hand. Hellbent Raider gains protection from white until end of turn. Why? Discard a card at random. You do have to discard a card, though. Anti-Raging Ravine Tech for the Pyramids card. Oh, sorry, not the Rune of Protection lands. These arts are pretty decent, honestly. The Rune of Protection cards. Take a look at these. They're actually really nice. Scott M. Fisher did them. They're actually incredibly detailed. Too bad it was like it's a pretty crappy mechanic. Did not stand the test of time at all. Paul Rogg. Portcullis. Can't be hurt if they are not in play. That's right. 4 mana artifact. Whenever any creature comes into play, if there are 2 or more other creatures in play, set that creature aside. If Portcullis leaves play, put the creature into play under its owner's control. Whenever any creature comes into play, if there are 2 or more other creatures in play, set that creature aside. Does that mean, like, if 2 people have 2 creatures in play, like, no other creatures can be played? Isn't that broken? I don't know if this really works for this show. Very interesting card, but I don't think it sets the thing. I do not think it protects. For Ginka with Sunstone. 3 mana for an artifact. What is this? Some sort of Buddha here? Pay 2. Sacrifice a snow-covered land to have all creatures deal no damage in combat this turn. Infinite Fogs for the snow decks. Hexenort, Leech's Mirror. I do not think I'm spelling this right. 5 mana. This is creepy. Is this like a zombie looking at themselves in another lifetime? If you would lose the game, instead shuffle your hand graveyard and all permanents you own into your library, then draw 7 cards. Your life total becomes 20. That's amazing. If you would lose the game, instead I think that's great. And you know what? It's like a hard counter to the Thassa's Oracle player. Oh, you tried to Thassa's Oracle me? Well, guess what? Leech's Mirror! Probably didn't see that I had it in play. She's a leech? I don't know what that means. Dive down. I almost played this in... I think Leech's Mirror is too good. Dive down. For a blue, instant. Target creature you control gets +0/+3 and gains hexproof until end of turn. Was a standard all-star card. Also has been reprinted in Magic the Gathering Foundations. It resets you on board, though, and it doesn't prevent your opponent from winning the game. Oh, is that right? If you lose the game, instead shuffle your hand, your graveyard. You know what? You're right. Losing all your permanents in play probably is a bummer. Then draw 7 cards. You're probably going to die if you would lose. Oh, yeah, and it doesn't prevent... Okay, you know what? You're right. I'll take it back. This card's a huge stinker. Huge stinker. Yeah, even if you don't lose, your opponents can still win. How does this work with poison? Yeah, hold on. How does that card work with poison? Okay, hold on. If you lose the game, instead shuffle your hand, graveyard, and all permanents you own into your library. I think, you know what? I think you would die again. I think you would die again. I don't know if you would have like, how does poison constantly check? Oh, does it lock the game with poison? I don't think you would lock the game. I think you would just die. I think you would die. This thing would resolve. State-based effects would check again, and then you die again. Yeah, you die twice. Well, you know, I think there's a lot of James Bond movies named after, like, dying another day, you only live twice, or something like that. Something like that. Okay, how are we gonna finish this show? Let's go with Daniel, the Shoreline Raider. Oh, it doesn't give protection. Already has protection. Very niche protection, but protection nonetheless. Benjamin Berkeley. Whoa, Flickering Ward or any cards in the Absolute Cycle. Yeah, it works. No one's been suggesting those cards. Like, maybe my title sucked. You know, anything that, like, protected your cards was totally fine. Die Another Day is the best movie ever made. I really didn't like those movies. Wait, was it that one? Die Another Day. Yeah, that was like one of my most hated James Bond movie. I was more of a GoldenEye Tomorrow Never Dies person. It just makes you die harder with the poison counters. That's funny. Easy Mercify. Seasoned Tactician. Oh, did we get a super chat? Oh, this is the, okay. Yeah, that's the custom card I got to start the show with. Okay, Seasoned Tactician. 3 mana for a 1/3. Pay 3. Remove the top 4 cards of your library from the game to prevent all damage to you from one source. Beautiful. Pierce Brosnan is a bad James Bond. You know what? I have mixed feelings. Really love GoldenEye. Really love Tomorrow Never Dies. Didn't like the last 2. I thought they were terrible. I thought they're awful. So while, you know, Pierce Brosnan is like in my heart, I can't really say like he was the best Bond, because I really didn't like the last 2 movies. I guess Daniel Craig is just the best Bond these days. All right, that's it for the show today. As usual, we do this show 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. Thanks to everyone who supports the show. If you are a patron on Patreon, a member on YouTube, or you super chat to be part of the show, or even super chat so other people are part of the show. And of course, thank you so much, everyone, for being here, suggesting your terrible protection cards. People like Daniel and Little Deadfly, Black Lance Geo, Bell, Paul Rog, Toads, Ferginka, Benjamin Berkeley, Steve Cooper, Kano, Damien, Christopher B, Neogenesis. We got Jay over here. Jesus, Easy Mercify. Because you guys are the show, of course, every single day. Wake up for the coffee crew. So keep bringing up them coffees, my crew. and we're going to keep bringing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you at the next cup.